Hey everybody, lightning struck my house while we were recording the podcast this week, and there's no video. None at all. I thought it could be salvaged. The front part of it looked fine, but it's not good, and I'm not going to put it out because it's garbage. But I wanted to put this here so you didn't think that we just forgot. We didn't forget. It was an act of God, as it were. I'm even late putting this video up because I got COVID. I'm sorry. But I did finally got struck down. And if you listen to the podcast this week, I promoted that I was going to be at the Ric Flair roasting Ric Flair, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. But then I got COVID, so I can't go. So all of that was a lie. I'm sorry if you ordered it just to watch me. You'd be crazy to do that. But if you did, I'm sorry. I'm not going to be there. And also for everybody who has been commenting recently, I have seen them, I've responded to some of them, that Drew sounds like he is a little bit lower than us. It's because he's not using a mic. I don't know where his mic went, but I think he's on the verge of getting a new one. So that's why he's turned all the way up in my mix. I can't do anything about it until he gets a new mic, so tweet at him, I guess. Anyways, so sorry for the non-podcast this week. Maybe we'll double up one week and make it up to you. You can support us in other ways. I'm sorry, I know I sound like I have COVID. It's because I do. Trey's on tour. Go to TreyCrowder.com and grab tickets. Drew's on tour. Go to DrewMorganComedy.com and grab tickets. And as for me, you can support me over at CoreyWritesForYou.com. It's my Substack. It's a newsletter. It's a blog. I put videos up and stuff like that. It is free for most of the things. You can pay $5 a month for bonus things like video of everything, audio of everything, bonus things. You get things early. If you can't afford the $5 but would still like those things, you can just email me at buttercreamcorey@gmail.com and I will comp you. No questions asked. I don't care if you're out of work, on strike, got too many kids, got too many bills. I understand it's rough, and I don't want money to ever come between us like that. So email me, buttercreamcorey@gmail.com, and I'll comp you. Also, check out me and Trey's new podcast, Puttin On Airs, which you know what I'm going to do? Actually, now that I think about it, I'm going to put in this spot right here, if you haven't seen Puttin On Airs, here's an episode of Puttin On Airs that you can enjoy. How about that? If you have seen it, then well, this is nothing to you. But if you haven't, this is Puttin On Airs. Enjoy.
What's up, Airheads? Welcome back. Got another edition of Puttin On Airs.
Howdy, Trey.
Howdy, Cho. What's up?
Oh, not much, man. I'm just, living the dream here at, do we have a name for our studio, Producer Russ?
We
POA
need
Studios.
Because I know that Bert and Tom is like, that's the bear cave.
Yeah, we need one. Something
Well,
with
it's like
air.
The
air
name,
something.
the acronym is POA, which is also like piece of ass, which is
Piece
very,
of ass,
like,
the
for
Piece of Ass
us,
studio, the
that's pretty
air
much
apparent,
the airframe,
the Airstream.
Airstream.
It's streaming. This
the
is the Airstream.
The Airstream.
We're
here in the Airstream.
Airstream.
Coming to you from the
That would be
Airstream.
sweet, by the way, if we started doing traveling shows in an Airstream trailer.
Airstreams are sweet.
And by the way, Airstream, holler at us. That's a possible sponsor. We've talked to them before. We could get them to do a POA, a Puttin On Airs Airstream trailer that we take around.
That would hit real hard.
Well, let's just put it out in the universe. Let's do it.
Yeah, manifest destiny, baby.
Mhm.
That's what's up. All right, so tonight, or on this episode, I'm going to be talking about divorce. Everybody gets divorced. Both fancy people and trash people get divorced. We'll be talking about the differences in it. And there's, I found some pretty funny divorce stories.
Really?
Yeah,
I can't believe there's a
imagine that.
lot. Yeah.
Imagine that. And then Professor Cho is going to be regaling us with a history lesson on the subject of
The Bard, or you
Elt.
may know him
Elt.
more as William Harold Shakespeare. Is it
Harold?
Nah, I don't know.
Did you say Harold? Because
I just
it's
William
William
H.
H.
Shakespeare. I think so.
It's funny because like Jesus' middle name
Jesus
is apparently
H. Christ.
H.
Yeah,
Like
Jesus Harold
H,
Christ.
You just go with H.
Yeah.
So you just defaulted to Harold.
Harold. Yeah.
William Harold Shakespeare.
Harold is I think that's an old name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Harold makes sense.
Yeah,
It
sure. It's
sounds
William,
right.
but William, we will be talking about William Shakespeare. A lot of fun facts, a lot of stuff that I can't wait to talk about. I didn't realize how much stuff I was going to learn about William Shakespeare that like really apply to the current day and how art is created. It's pretty fascinating. So I'm pretty excited.
All right, well that'll be fun. But before we get to all that, I wanted to tell you. So
Oh shit!
So you've already seen it. Hell, I've spoiled it already for you. So Christmas just happened. I don't know when people are going to be seeing this. Probably fucking June or something. But as we're filming this, Christmas just happened. And I talked about in the last episode we filmed, I got my wife a dainty necklace, it hit, whatever. She got me something that was meant specifically for this podcast. She knows we're doing this podcast. She knows we're excited about it. So she got me a Christmas present that was in the vein of Puttin On Airs. And what she got me was a lordship.
I love that.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Bought
Hit
and
that,
paid
hit that
for.
in the main camera right there, Trey.
Oh my God.
Hang on, what we got here's mine right here.
Yeah.
Look at that. Lord
Holy.
Trae Crowder.
That is.
So I'm gonna be.
So what? You got an acre in Scotland or something?
That's right. No, less than
A
an
foot,
acre.
a foot.
5 square feet.
that's
I
what's
got
up,
5
though.
square feet in Scotland, but I got this. I got my crest here. There's a deer on it. Look at that.
Nice.
Look at that. Yes, but
Crest, which is something his family normally never uses.
no. We ain't crest people at all. But so now I'm gonna need producer Russ. Whenever you put up our things underneath us, our titles, I'm gonna need it to say Lord. I'm gonna need it to say Lord
Yeah.
Trae Crowder,
Hey,
please.
while we're doing that,
I knew this was
well,
coming
why wouldn't
up.
I?
Why wouldn't it? Yeah.
While we're doing that, now I'm not a lord, but I recently found out over the break that I had been nominated and appointed by the governor of Kentucky as an official colonel, which is the highest rank you can give a civilian in the state of Kentucky. So if you're going to be Lord Trae Crowder, I'm absolutely going to be Colonel
Corey
Forster. So there you go, the Lord and the Colonel.
That's right.
This is tremendous.
We needed titles,
For sure.
to do this show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now look, I probably ought
Wait a
not to
minute.
do this.
So I don't get a title.
Yeah.
Well, you're producer.
Producer
Russ.
is a title.
Producer's a titer. Titer.
What are other
Producer's a
titles?
titer.
Lord,
Could there be
Colonel,
like a prefix
Sir?
to it?
Sir, well, I mean,
Russ?
you're definitely sir.
Yeah,
like we could knight
Sir
you. Like
Producer Russ.
there might have to
That
be
could
like
an
a
episode.
Producer Russ Esquire.
Esquire is
maybe?
good. Doesn't that mean
Something.
lawyer?
It does mean
I'll
lawyer.
put a pin in that.
In this country, it means lawyer.
Yeah.
You guys
okay.
knighting me.
What would our version of knighting be? Because like over there, it's like touching their shoulder with a sword. What would we do?
Whatever it is, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, it's
I
our
don't know.
dicks. I think, yeah, for sure.
Spit backer on either side of them. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, you know what? Airheads out there in the airstream, we got to figure out what producer Russ's title is aside from right now it's Lord Trae Crowder,
Yeah.
Colonel
Email us
Corey
at
Forster. Email us at puttinonairs@gmail.com. We got to figure out what producer Russ is. And by the way, it has to be less than what we are.
Of course. Of course.
Just-
Something a little underneath.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, like it can't be HRH, like none of that shit. Like it's got to be like whatever, it's something that hits but doesn't hit as much as Colonel and Lord.
Yeah. If you like title, well, you're Kentucky Colonel. Are you like, how likely are you to include your title in future things? Do you know what I mean?
So I'm sure that by the time this episode comes out, I will
guys,
have
pull
already.
the mics closer to your face.
Oh, thank you. I'm sure that by the time this episode comes out, because I haven't even announced that to the Twitter world yet, because I want to get my Colonel. I want to get that thing that you just showed framed before I make like some. I'm going to make some extravagant post, teardrops. Like I can't believe.
Yeah. By the time people see this, you will have done all of that.
I will have done all that. So yeah, I mean, I'm probably definitely exclusive. I'm going to be like on Twitter. I'll definitely be COL Corey Ryan Forster. And I'll be honest with you, I'm probably going to have people bring me up at shows as Colonel Corey Ryan
That's what I
Forster
was
for
wondering.
sure. Why wouldn't I? It's an honor.
Sure. How do you feel about people that like
You make them call you doctor?
Yes.
Oh, I would not. I mean, dude, I'm
Yes.
not going to be like, excuse
People-
me. It's Colonel.
Right.
No.
Well, people that are doctors, put so much more effort into becoming doctors than we put into what we just talked about. But I'm saying, but I know,
but
I can't imagine.
Engineers take a lot of time to do that shit, but you don't have to go, hello, engineer Scotty.
I know. I agree.
I actually have a story about that. So me and you were talking earlier off mic about when I used to be a flower delivery boy and also made the arrangements and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the routes that I had was Signal Mountain. And I don't know if anybody listening to this that's from the Chattanooga area immediately just went, Signal Mountain people. And for the record, I know there's a lot of them that are great people, but Signal Mountain is always kind of like if you were going to say that someone was uppity.
Is that the Trash Mountain? Oh,
no. Opposite.
It's the fancy
That's
mountain.
Sand Mountain.
It's the
yeah.
Sand Mountain.
Yeah.
Where they keep all the sand trash.
The trash.
Yes. But the trash is on Sand Mountain. Signal Mountain that's fancy. So that's fancy people.
And I don't know how it started out, but like now it's like everybody that has money moves up to Signal Mountain. You got to take like the W road to get there and shit. Like it's just all.
Can't just take any regular.
No,
road.
you got it. Yeah,
it's got to have a special road.
But like if you live
there.
on Signal Mountain, you are uppity, and that's like if you're a comic and you're ever in Chattanooga and you've got one of those like throwaway jokes that you do in every city about like the good part of town, you say Signal Mountain. You know, that's just that. That's the better side of the tracks.
Okay.
So one of my routes was I always had to go up Signal Mountain, and it was always for like, a shit ton of flowers, usually catering like a whole party or like some dude who like had to have his wife the most opulent Valentine's Day shit, what the fuck ever. So I'm there delivering flowers one day, and I go up to the door and I knock, whatever. This is back when you could just knock on a door and talk to a person face to face without a mask or any of that. Like it was a very different time. And so I opened the door. I'm like, hello, are you, I don't remember the guy's name, but I was just like, Mr. Jones? And this fucker just goes, Doctor. Dr. Jones.
Right.
And me being who
so what did you do in that scenario?
Well, hey, I'm delivery driver Corey. Here's your flowers. And because that's just, I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
how in God's name is the flower delivery boy supposed to know that you are Dr. Jones?
Why the fuck does you but by the way, here's the deal. You still are Mr. Jones. It's not like you're not Mr. Like, I'm just Mr. Like, that's the it's fine. Like, dude, of course, when I know a person is a doctor, I usually do say, what's up, doc? Or like, hey, doctor, blah. Of course. But like the fucking arrogance of like, yes, I know you worked really hard to get that fucking thing. By the way, I don't expect people to be like, hello, comedian Corey Ryan Forster.
Right.
I've put as much fucking work into this shit as you have becoming a fucking doctor. I promise you that.
I mean, it's easy for me to say, I guess, but like,
I know there's a lot of good doctors who don't do this, and I'm not talking to you.
I just feel like, I think if I had an honorific like that I had earned, if people called me that, I'd be fine with it.
That's great.
I'd be fine with it.
Yeah, that's great.
But I can't ever see myself correcting someone and be like, actually, it's Sir Trae. I just would never do that.
You know why I think that is? You're not a huge piece of shit, I think is why you wouldn't do that.
Yeah, it's just people have you have to feel like I am much above you, and I need you to acknowledge that every time you talk to me.
But here's the thing. Do you know why you spend that much time trying to become a doctor? It's because you want to be a doctor, not be called a fucking doctor. The work is your reward, God damn it.
The people who say that shit, they're always like, I didn't spend 7 years in fucking medical school, or however long it takes, to be called Mr. Jones. It's like, well, I don't really care for what you did.
We're not at your job right now.
Yeah.
I didn't come to I didn't come here with the fucking flowers and then drop my pants, turn my head, and fucking cough. You're not a doctor right now. You're just a dude signed for these fucking flowers, you asshole. Again, most doctors are great. But if you do this, I don't think you're great.
Yeah, I feel like it's more like people that aren't medical doctors who do that, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, I think I agree with you. It's people who are like a doctor of literature.
Yeah, right.
Because there's a lot of people that like...
Because I feel like they feel the need to point it out to people more. They're like, I'm not just a book person.
Yeah.
I'm a book doctor.
We had,
and I need you. And I need you to acknowledge the fact that I'm a doctor of books.
Yeah, we had.
I'm not just a regular old. I'm not book trash.
Yeah.
I'm not a book peasant. I'm a book doctor, and you need to say that to me.
We had a elementary school teacher who ended up getting her doctorate in education, and then became doctor. I'm not gonna say her name. And she was a fine lady, and I don't think she did that part. But like, I remember when all of a sudden in the yearbook it changed to doctor whatever, and we were always just like, yeah, but like that's different.
I feel like if you're teaching a class of children and you're now, instead of Mr. Forrester, you're Dr. Forrester,
Sure.
and you tell the kids,
That's
call me
fine.
Dr. Forrester,
That's
whatever,
fine.
that's different. But when the fucking flower boy shows
Right.
up and is like, hey, Mr. Jones, you're like, excuse me, it's Dr. Jones. That's very fucking different.
Also, but for that on that note though, if one of the kids still says, hello, Mr. Jones, I still think you have to go, I am that too.
Yeah.
It's not like they called me Greg. You know what I mean? They said Mr. Give the fucking kid a break, for God's sakes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. So my marriage is doing great.
Yeah.
Obviously.
I bet what we're talking about has led to a lot of this.
Got a great gift.
Mhm.
Your marriage doing good? You holding up in there?
Oh, we're good, man. I mean,
We're coming out of the pandemic. Well, we're not coming out of anything, but we've all been in the pandemic for a while.
Well, you
And
know,
I feel like relationships have gone one of two ways in the pandemic.
they have. I mean,
How has yours gone?
with mine, it's actually been like kind of the opposite of most people's in that, well,
Your mic.
okay, my bad, Russ. So here's the deal. Me and my wife got married in 2018. So me and you'd been on tour for 2 years, right? And we've been together the entire time we've been on tour. And you know how fucking hot and heavy our tour was, especially back then. Me and her never really, like the whole time we've been together, we've never really seen each other. Like, it was always just like, hey, babe, mwah, kiss each other. I'm home for 2 days. And then, like, I'm on the road for 2 weeks and I'm back home for 2 days. So the pandemic was, like, kind of at first a shock for us because it was literally the first time we had ever actually cohabitated.
Yeah. Oh, you here now?
Right. Oh, shit. So to
you
us,
really gonna brush your teeth that way?
Yep.
Okay.
That's literally a thing. She makes fun of me because I have a very sensitive gag reflex, and so I do. No, so like every time I'm brushing my teeth, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
and she makes, and like she'll be in the bed and she'll be like, "Are you fucking serious right now?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry, I can't help it. I got to get back there, and my breath will fucking stink." But like, it was the first time that. So
you ever thrown up? Have you ever gotten that far?
Let me tell you something right now.
What are you brushing? Your tonsils?
You gotta get back there.
He's going all the way back.
But let me tell you this. Have I ever thrown up? Anytime that I've ever been like really super drunk and got home and brushed my teeth, I throw up almost every time. So
Okay.
now,
Well, that is hilarious, but I kind of want to give it up to you for brushing your teeth when you're
yes.
that hammered.
let me tell you why.
That's
though.
wild
Do you
to me.
rebrush
No,
your
let me te-
teeth
let
at
me tell
least
you-
after that?
No. Okay. Let me tell but let me explain this to you. I don't brush my teeth when I'm super hammered now. Can you guess why?
Because you throw up all the time?
No. But can you guess why I tried to brush my teeth back in the day when I was super hammered? Because when I was super hammered, I was about to get some pussy.
Yeah.
So I wanted to brush my teeth. I don't know if you have to bleep that.
Wait a minute. Would you not be at some random whore? I don't know what else
And then
to
we
say.
the whore. Yeah.
Some random.
That's their title. Excuse me. It's
Yes.
whore.
So, yeah, right. Some random.
You think I sucked dicks for 7 years to not be called a whore? Come on.
Yeah. Some random lady of the night. Her place.
Well, if I'm at her place, no.
Okay, well,
if I'm at her place,
I'm about
no.
to say, like, you end up in these positions where you're like,
Most
oh,
of
I'm
my,
about to get
we'd
some,
always go back to my house.
and you can go, okay.
Yeah.
And you would go out of your way to brush your teeth?
Of course, I want it to be fresh for him.
I just fucking spray that dragon breath all over
No,
him,
man.
dog.
No, I want it to
What's
be
up,
fresh.
girl?
I want it to be fresh for
Just
him.
hit him with it. I didn't give a fuck.
No, man, that wasn't my game. Like I wanted to like make the great
yeah, but
impression.
you've already fucking locked it in at that point.
But I want to confirm the second meeting. Do you know what I'm saying?
Really?
Of course.
You want to? You're like, when you get in that position, you're sitting there thinking, I need to make sure this happens again.
I fall in love so quick.
Okay.
Like I'm a guy. Like
All right.
one night. Now, don't get me wrong. Did I have a lot of one night stands?
Because I
Absolutely.
was always just like, this will go how it goes.
No, let me tell you something.
and then we'll see.
I had a lot of one night stands, but let me tell you something. Always their decision. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I would have loved to do it again. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah, come on. I mean, of course, there were some, like, when I first started doing stand-up and I was on the road, before my wife...
You never fucked some chick you knew was racist?
Oh, yeah, for sure, and I couldn't wait to do it again.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah,
Never mind.
No, I'm just saying, like, when
I had a couple where I found out some unfortunate things.
Oh,
and I was like, well, I'm still going to pop this, but then she can go somewhere else.
They normally never
because I'm not trying to listen to this.
They normally never go into Mein Kampf on the first date. You know what I mean? That's
some of them do.
Dog. No, it was usually when I met their parents. I was like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? But like, no, man,
parent meeting.
I fell in love, dude. Like I was a really lovey. Like I loved love. Like I loved love. The thing,
hopeless romantic.
I would always, me and a girl would always date for like 8 months, and then we would break up because what I found out was that I was addicted to love, like the start of it, and 8 months is usually when it starts, like kind of being like, okay, the honeymoon's over.
8 months, buddy.
Yeah.
That's a fucking while.
I know.
In the context of what you're saying,
yeah, well,
8 months is a while.
For the record, again, there was several one-night stands in between this because they just didn't want nothing to do with me.
I feel like I always just had like...
I was not a desirable human being.
Flings or one-night stands are the equivalent, or we were together for like a fair amount of time.
I had... we were together for 8 months, or we were together for one night, and then every now and then they would like be drunk and call me and be like, "You want to do that again?" And I'm like, "Absolutely!" Like a basset hound, just like. But I was always, and me and my wife did this, but like I was always a big fan of like the hang afterwards. You know what I mean? Like talk, like they would listen to me. You know, like they, well, like, let me, like, dude, you gotta understand,
buddy, you are in the minority.
Yeah, no, I know I am.
You were a big fan of the hang after a one night stand.
You gotta understand, like,
it ain't almost nobody who feels that way.
You gotta understand that when I was doing this is when like you were like in college and you had a successful job and stuff like that. I was a fucking open mic, going on the road every now and then, working it out comic. I desired being desirable. You know what I mean? Like any woman that wanted to hang out for a little bit, I was like, oh my God, really? Because like a lot of them think I'm a huge fucking worthless bag of shit. So like I wanted to have my breath fresh. I wanted to make a really good impression so that hopefully they'd come back again. And some of them would, but then they'd come see my act and they would be like, he ain't going nowhere. That ain't it. Yeah. And so but then if one of them did hang on, here's what it was too. They would hang on for 8 months. Realistically, that was the amount of time for them to realize, oh, he's just funny. You know what I mean? Like he's just funny. That's it. Yeah. So like, yeah, man, I was like, I like the fresh breath. I'm a big cologne guy. You know, I've got not to the extent of like in Anchorman or whatever, but I've got my like rack of colognes. Like I like to smell good. I take 4 showers a day. Like when me and Amber are about to, oh yeah, 4 at least. Not at least.
That's weird, right?
Not at least 4.
Amount.
At bare minimum 2 a day. Usually 3.
How long are the showers?
I mean, it depends. The first one, the first one in the morning is usually 6 to 7 minutes because I'm a little tired. So like the first 3 minutes is me just kind of like getting it up. Then the second shower is about 5 minutes because it's after my walk and because I sweated a little bit, so I get in the shower. My third shower is very quick. It's after I work out, and I'm just like, I've got shit to do. I got a lot of energy, but I just need to clean the sweat off. You know what I mean? And then my fourth shower is at night, and it usually will be a little bit longer because I usually put a podcast on and just kind of like, you know how women take a bath? I have the shower equivalent of that, and I'll put on like Two Bears, One Cave, or I'll put on like some NPR thing and learn some stuff. And I'm in there for a while because the reason I do this is because of fucking Aaron Sorkin, right?
Okay.
Aaron Sorkin. Right. So Aaron Sorkin.
Shout out Aaron Sorkin.
I took his master class, right? And so he was talking about his whole thing of like, he pitched it with like, you know, Albert Einstein worked at the patent office because he realized that when he was really trying to think and come up with shit, he couldn't just stare at the cursor blinking. That did nothing for him. But if he occupied himself with something, his brain worked in the subconscious, right? Andy Kaufman he was like a dishwasher at a restaurant when he was at the height of his fame in Taxi, because he said that creatively having that menial task that he wasn't really thinking caused his subconscious to think. Anytime I'm writing a story or doing anything like that and I'm fucking stuck, the last thing I'll do is sit there and stare at the fucking computer. I immediately go get in the shower, and I swear to God, 9 times out of 10, I go, yes! Like 2 minutes into washing my hair, 2 minutes into washing, 2 minutes into washing my scalp without thinking, I'll go, boom, that's it. And I'll go out and I've got the idea, because your subconscious is constantly working overdrive, and it's soothing. And I love soap. I love soap, dude.
But still, 4 though?
Yeah. I mean, you know what? 4 is like a pretty hardcore day. At bare minute,
what are you doing with your clothes?
What do you mean?
Are you doing a change of clothes after every one of these?
It depends.
Oh my God.
Because who's doing your fucking laundry?
No. Me and Amber both split the laundry. We split the laundry.
So if you're doing 4 fucking showers a day, are you in between, before and after every shower, it's a different change of clothes and underwear and stuff? Because that's wild.
No. Let me explain to you. First off,
he's doing a week of laundry every 3 days.
That's crazy.
No. First off, I don't always wear underwear. Secondly,
that's fine.
Okay. Secondly,
that makes a difference.
Secondly, the night shower, I was not even dirty for that shower. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the clothes I was wearing for the night shower, but the clothes I'm wearing from 6 p.m. until 9:30, that is when I take my night shower. Those clothes end up being my morning clothes. Do you know what I'm saying? Because they're not that dirty. So those clothes, what they do is I fold them up and I put them on the hamper right when I get out of the shower. And then the next morning, after I get out of my morning shower, I put those clothes on. So if you look at me at night, right before I'm about to go to bed, that is the clothes that I will wear up until lunch the next day. And then those go in the hamper because I fucking sweated in them on my walk. And then after that, I put my workout clothes on and I go work out. And fucking, yes, of course I throw my workout clothes in the fucking hamper.
What about your early afternoon shower?
About to say, right now you're.
I don't wear a lot of
evening shower.
Right now, I think we're looking at. I feel like we're looking at 3 changes of clothes per day.
Also, you got to understand that, like, I don't wear a lot of clothes when I'm just at the house. Like, I'll often just wear my robe. Like, my good friends over at Fruit Smash, which, by the way, y'all should sponsor this podcast, sent me like a bunch of geese, you know, like silk robes or whatever. When I'm at the house after I've got out of a shower, like, often I will just like put on that robe and just be in that for a while. So I'm not actually in a lot of underwear. Also, I have a lot of antimicrobial underwear, and I use a tremendous amount of Gold Bond, which keeps me dry, which keeps the sweat off. And I maintain those underwear are probably good for at least 10 hours, regardless of when 6 p.m. If I take them off at 9, I'll still wear them the next day until like 12 or 11:30 a.m. And then I put on different underwear to go work out, because I wear different underwear when I work out, because I have performance underwear and I have regular underwear.
I'm lost.
Absolute lunatic.
Lunatic.
For sure.
I'm lost.
Yeah.
Wow.
Buddy. Well, anyway.
Great segment, though.
Divorce.
You wanted to...
Oh, right. Which is definitely going to happen to me.
Yeah, right.
Because my wife has to do my laundry.
Guys, it is time to dig yourself out of that winter hibernation. Spring is here. You know what that means, Trey? It's time to get boing, sprung with Blue Chew. That's right. This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Guys, confidence can take you far in life. We all know that, but it also helps in the bedroom, especially when it comes time to step up to the plate, a.k.a. the wiener plate, and that's where Blue Chew comes in. Tell them about it, Trey.
That's right. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost. You can take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead to get down or just be ready to get down whenever anybody's up to getting down. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers. Once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. That's the best part about it. It's all done on the internet there or your phone, just online. It's done online, which means no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew's tablets are made right here in the U.S. of A, prepared and shipped directly to your door in a discreet package. And we do mean package.
Yeah, huge package. That is my favorite. That's my favorite part, by the way, because I've told you a million times. I actually know my pharmacist. We were in journalism together, and I don't necessarily want her knowing what I'm getting up to. But I tell you this. My wife loves to know what I'm getting up to when it's time for Blue Chew. As soon as that mailman gets to the door, she knows what time it is, Daddy. And listen, if you could benefit from extra confidence when it's time to perform, Blue Chew can help. And we got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew for free when you use our promo code POA at checkout. All you got to do is pay $5 for shipping. That's it.
That's nothing.
That ain't shit.
$5 for new wieners?
Come on now. You want a cup of coffee or a new wiener? I know which one I want.
That's right.
That's BlueChew.com, promo code POA to receive your first month for free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this podcast.
Psst. Who's going to take care of your family if something happens to you? What would they do without your income? If you don't have a plan, you need to go to GoliathLife.com. Get a quick quote for more than 20 carriers. You don't even have to leave the house. If you need a medical exam, they'll send somebody to your house or office. You're in total control. You pick the rates, you pick the payments, you pick the terms. You're in total control, but it gives you and your family peace of mind. What if something happens to your income? Hurry to GoliathLife.com.
So I wanted to talk about divorce. And I, normally try to, let me do my thing. The Venn diagram where they overlap. I mean, dude, everybody gets divorced.
You almost have to.
You almost have to.
You don't even go into a marriage now without.
So since you've said that, let's just talk about it that way. I had a realization relatively early on in my relationship with Katie that so you're from Chickamauga, a small southern town, but
Civil War town,
but it's close to a city.
Yeah,
I'm from Salina, Tennessee. It's not close to anything.
You're like 5 hours from Knoxville, right?
No, I'm 2 hours from
That's
Knoxville or
enough,
Nashville.
yeah.
But either way, it's not close to a city. My hometown ravaged economically, right? I never put all this together, but I've thought since then, literally every one of my buddies and me too, growing up with, every one of us
Divorced parents.
had divorced parents except for one, Kobe. Kobe's parents stayed together.
Are they miserable?
Other than that, no, they seemed all right.
Yeah.
But other than that, everybody's parents were divorced.
Yeah.
And I never thought twice, because when you're a kid, you don't think twice about anything.
Yeah.
Things just are the way they are. So nobody's parents were together. Half the people's mom or dad just was gone,
right,
either fucking in the pen or fucking, pilled up somewhere or both or whatever. And that's just the way things were.
For sure.
And I didn't think about it this way until I got older, but I just always kind of took divorce for granted.
Right. It's a way of life.
It's like you get married. You get married.
They stop hitting.
And then you'll get divorced.
Right.
And then you'll either get married again
Which,
or
for
you
the
won't
record,
or whatever.
if
But
you
you'll
look
just
statistically,
get married, you'll get divorced, and that's just what you do.
Yeah.
Right? And then I met Katie, and her parents are still married and always have been married, and divorce don't hit for her.
Right. Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just like, I was just like, yeah, you get divorced. That's what happens. We're about done. We've been together for a while. We're about done. You get divorced. It's fine. But she's like, no, you don't get divorced. I was like, oh, damn. You don't get divorced?
I know. I love having that option. I love Like me and
I
Amber,
guess you don't get divorced. You know, I went through that thought process. But like your parents are married.
They are.
They've been married the whole time.
Yeah.
So how did that all play out for you when you were? How did you look at divorce
Well,
and all that?
So one of the big things for me was I grew up in the church, right? And when you grow up in the church, divorce is very different because a divorce is a sin. But what that ends up being, this is anecdotal evidence. Like
the sins hit.
Sins do hit, right? They do hit. But like, my point is when you're looking at divorce through the lens of a condemnation from God, and you actually believe in that God and think that he may smite you, what I realized happened was a lot of people stayed in very, very unhealthy marriages for way too fucking long, which
so it's like the opposite for you.
It's the opposite. So I looked at it.
You look at it like people should be getting divorced
without
more.
question. Like, I'm not saying, like, obviously if you can make it work and it's just one of those bullshit things like, oh, I just want to be a rambling man. It's like, dude, come on, man. You love this lady. She loves you. You're going to regret this. There's some times where I'm like, man, you made an oath, like, make it work. If it's just your fucking bullshit, go get your bullshit done and then come back to that. Like, but like, there's I looked at a lot of relationships in hindsight from the church and I go, damn, those people hated each other. And the reason that their kid is so fucked up, because then they would go, the reason you have to stay together too is like, you have to stay together for the kids.
Yeah.
That's a big trope. And like, you can ask almost any fucking psychologist and they'll go, that's not actually a thing. Because a divorced family that's both happy is way better than a marriage that is.
They weren't both happy.
But you know what I'm saying?
But my mom and dad would flirt with kind of getting back together, like during my childhood, and every time, and they used to like laugh about it. They'd be like, "You're the only kid who doesn't want their parents to get together."
Right.
But like whenever that would happen, as a kid, I would be like, "What are you doing?"
Dude, right. Quit.
I was like, "This ain't it."
Yeah.
Leave, mom.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. This don't hit. You're fucking lying to each other. Like
Larry
the
Miller
whole
used to have
time, I was
that
like,
joke.
don't pretend to do this.
There's a lot of those couples in our, and I mean, my wife kind of still does. Her parents are divorced, and there's always that, will they, won't they? Are they going to still get back together? And
her parents are like that?
No. Her parents are divorced, and I think at first, when they first got divorced, there was this like, oh, they'll work it out. You know what I mean? And it's like that. There's that fucking Larry Miller joke that I love so much about. He goes, you see these people that get divorced and then they remarry the same person. He goes, that's like going to the fridge, grabbing the milk, and going, oh, this milk's bad. Yeah, maybe it'll be better tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? And like, that is such a great example of like so many things I saw as a kid of like these parents. It's like, dude, yes, okay, does it suck that now you have 2 Christmases? 100%. But like, you have to see that it was not fucking good. And I saw it so much in the church, because in the church, there were so many unhappy people that were married and they could not get divorced because of God, you know? And like, their kids had very bad, they ended up having very bad relationships with women because like they had a bad example at home because their parents fucking hated each other, but they were like, it doesn't matter. It's better to stay together and hate for God.
This is fascinating to me. We had like literally.
You didn't know that? Like, you didn't know that was a thing?
We had literally the exact opposite experience.
Yeah, I love divorce.
Like,
I think it's great.
My parents were divorced when I was 11. Same thing.
Good stuff, right?
Well, in hindsight, for sure.
In hindsight.
I mean, if they had stayed
it's like that
together,
Louis
it'd
bit.
be
He's like,
horrible.
no good marriage has ever ended in divorce.
Right.
He's like, it's never happened.
But I'm saying I never questioned divorce. It's like I said, to me, it's like, that's the other thing that happens after you get married. Eventually you just get divorced. That's just what happens. And I thought about it later, like as an adult, it was like, oh, people can stay together and that's nice. But for you, it was like, no, people stay together. That's what happens. But they ought to get divorced. People should get divorced.
I'm just saying, like, there are definitely people who, to me, it's not a great story that they weathered the storm. Right. Sometimes they 100% should have fucking called it. And now it's like, yeah, you're both 68. You can't start over, you know? But like, I don't
know. There's some 68-year-old whores out there.
For sure. That's true.
You can get jacked off by
Madonna.
if you really want to.
Buddy, can you?
Yeah.
But
Madonna's like 70.
I'm not going to say the people that this happened to because they're very, very good friends of mine. I don't want to do that. But like, I remember my first divorce like
Some of my friends.
of my
that did it?
friends, like
Okay.
super close friends, and they were
See, that's so wild.
And they were-
like to you. That's a experience that stands out to
Yeah.
you. You remember the first time that happened.
Yeah.
I'm saying like we took it for granted.
Yeah.
Nobody's parents
Yeah.
were together.
Well, these were like
everybody's parents
these
were
were like
divorced.
super close friends, and also in the church. And the reason that it was such a big deal was because of the church aspect. Because I don't know if you know this, in the I'm about to teach you something about divorce. In the Southern Baptist community, you know what a deacon is?
It's like a
Cardinal. It's like a cardinal.
Somebody that hits in the church.
Yeah, it's like if the
somebody hits, but less than the pastor.
yeah,
or
it's like
God.
if the pastor was the pope, they're cardinals. That's what it is.
Okay,
That's
all
what
right.
it is. They're deacons. They're
Yeah,
there.
yeah, okay,
they're there
yeah.
to be the fucking like the toughs for the mob guy. You know what I mean? They're the soldiers. Well, in the Baptist church,
So if you've been jacking off, you got to go through the deacon before you get to the pastor.
without
The
question,
deacon's going to be like, stop jacking
stop
off.
jacking off.
But if you just keep jacking off, maybe he'll elevate it to the pastor.
Yeah, I mean, you got
Yeah.
it. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, you
Yeah,
got
yeah.
it. So if you are a deacon and then you get divorced, you are not a deacon anymore.
Really?
Yes, and by the way, and this was the hardest lesson as well. Even if you didn't want to get the divorce, like if your wife just leaves you,
You're out.
you're out.
Yeah.
Like, even if you were like, no, I don't want the divorce. I'm not signing off on this. Like, you don't get to be a deacon anymore. And that happened to a person at our church who was a very fucking good friend of mine who loved this church. And they were like, yeah, you're gone. And then like, so my first experience with divorce also had that connotation to it. And it was like, then that also was one of my experiences with going, wait, maybe fuck the church. Because I was like, wait, y'all turn your back on this guy who still does all the shit that you want him to do and still loves God and still loves this church, but his wife wanted to not be there anymore, and so now he can't do this. And I was like, that's fucked up. This is fucked up. But also we had to grapple with the fact of like, are they sinning? Is this a sin? Oh my God, are my best friends sinning?
Yeah.
You know, like it was really a traumatic, but that's all because of the church. And this is why I crusade against that shit.
Against,
The church.
sure.
And
which
for
don't
divorce.
hit.
Yeah.
Against the church for divorce.
And now I'm pro-divorce.
hits.
Divorce hits.
Church don't hit.
I love divorce, dude.
Divorce hits.
I hope my wife doesn't divorce me, but I'm glad she knows that it's an option.
But if she does, you'll be like, oh, it's.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
You know
okay.
what I mean?
So, all right. Fancy people, they get divorced. I feel like the reason I even thought about covering this is because there was a rash of fancy people divorces during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Right? Bill and
Bezos.
Melinda Gates, Bezos, fucking
I forgot about the Gates.
the Kanye
Kanye,
and
yeah.
Kim. All those happened relatively close to each other.
Yeah.
So it seemed like
It all happens in threes.
fancy people are getting divorced a lot.
Yeah.
So you look up, do fancy people get divorced more than regular people? And not really, but it's around the same rate. Seems like
They're more
just
public when it
being
happens.
together just don't hit at the same level
Yeah.
for anybody, whether
Yeah.
you're rich or not. But like,
I would say when you're poor, you have more of a we got to stick together attitude.
You
and
do.
when you're rich, you're like, I could do anything else.
so well, apparently divorce is more common in economic booms than in economic downturns.
because people start hitting and they're like, I could get
You
that.
know what? She don't hit.
Yeah, I could get that.
She would hit.
I
Right.
think I get that
In
a little bit.
economic downturns, people are more inclined to stick together because they're like, we got to weather this fucking storm.
Yeah, Chris
Right.
Pratt started being in fucking MCU movies, and he was like, I'm gonna fuck a Kennedy. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, that type of shit happens.
Yes, it does. So, and apparently with rich people, it's like, so the number one thing that causes divorce amongst all relationships is money, right?
Mhm.
Arguing
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
money. But with rich people, it has to do with like, usually there's one person who's rich and who hits, you know, and it's hard for the other person who doesn't hit.
Which person
to
in the
not-
relationship is that normally?
You know, the man
Okay.
most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, not only do they hit and the other person don't hit, but they're also gone a lot because people
Right.
that are rich, they got other shit like they're
Business
out.
trip.
They're
we gotta
out
do this
hitting
thing.
all this
Yeah.
stuff, and they grow apart, and you can't fucking, whatever. So that causes them to get divorced. But when they get divorced, it's like a whole other level of divorce.
It's like a business dissolving.
They have to it is.
Yeah.
It's exactly like a business dissolving. They literally have to bring in like 3 or 4 different types of lawyers. There's
Right.
like tax lawyers and estate lawyers and all these different types of lawyers that they need to make sure that shit works the way it's supposed to. Rich people also try to keep it out of court. They try to
Settle.
They try to settle because they don't want the peasants knowing what, because you get into
Right.
court and it's like public record,
Which happened
They
to
don't-
Johnny Carson every fucking time.
and they don't want the peasants knowing
Right.
what's going on with that.
Right, because then
Right.
they have to see their money, where their taxes shit go,
Right.
like where what everything's being split.
Yes. So I looked up, so I got some stories, some divorce stories. I got one rich person story, and then I got a bunch of trash stories, which
Good. That's a good
But-
quotient.
listen to how this is very Raven, this rich person divorce story I'm going to read you. So, a prenup certainly would have come in handy for oil tycoon Harold Hamm.
I fucking bet it would have.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who spent years in court unwinding his marriage to his second wife, Sue Ann Arnall. In 2015, he wrote her a check for $974,790,317.77.
Jesus God.
She deposited that check, but then continued to fight in court for a higher amount.
Bitch.
$1 billion, that ain't it. I need
No.
more than that. An appeals court ruled that Sue Ann had agreed to the settlement by signing.
Is that some bitch right there?
Hell, I guess.
God,
Apparently.
that's a ham if I ever seen it.
An appeals court ruled that Sue Ann had agreed to the settlement by signing and depositing the check. So she took her millions and funded a PAC, a super PAC, that unseated the judge who oversaw the divorce.
God.
Dude, how fucking rich people shit
That
is
is some
that?
succession
She
shit.
took that money and funded a super PAC that unseated the judge that pissed her off by saying, hey, $1 billion is enough.
You kind of can't deny that she deserves that money, like
After going through
intellectually
that,
wise.
yeah.
Like, that's a fucking smart ass motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, all that shit like blows my mind because like you saw the shit that Johnny Carson went through, like with all his divorces, and I've always thought, and I've even, and this is stupid, but I've told Amber this. I was like, listen, if you ever leave me, I won't keep it real fucking simple. Just leave me enough to live on for 6 months. Take the rest, and I'll make it back. Just don't like, because I
But
will.
Don't take none of that.
Just I'll make it. You can have literally everything. I know I know how to make it. I'll make it back. We don't need to deal with none of this shit. But like, if you write a check to someone for, look at that check. There's the check
Yeah.
for $974 million fucking dollars. Like,
Look at that. My man had to make a whole new line underneath
God.
the fuck, yeah.
Damn.
Just to fill out the
he didn't
amount of
put
money.
anything in the memo, which may have fucked him. Like, you got
Yeah.
to put four.
Being a bitch.
Yeah, that dumb whore. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, you got to at least put that in the fucking memo. But like, God damn, son, that shit.
Imagine writing a check for almost $1 billion and having her be like, that ain't it.
That ain't it,
I'm going to need you to come with more.
dude. Like,
That's fucking crazy.
and I mean, obviously, she thought she had. Imagine having that much money to just give someone.
And then being a judge and being like, no,
Right.
$1 billion is enough.
Right.
And then losing your job
Yeah.
because she
Created a CPAC.
dedicated entirely to saying you don't help.
How much
and
money
you
did
can't
she
have a
spend
job.
on that shit?
That's what I'm saying, dude. Had to be a lot.
God damn,
But she
man.
just, buddy, people got to send a message. That's what divorce is about sending a message.
Yes.
So it's like the fucking
You gotta
Joker.
win.
It's like the Joker burning the money.
It's not about the money.
It's about sending a message.
Right.
That's what so many of them do. So
she kind of looks like the Joker, if I'm being honest.
but also fucking a lot of really rich people that get divorced, it's relatively amicable because I guess a lot of times the other party
You hit, I hit, split it, let's go.
The other party is like, you know what? $64 billion. That'll work.
Well,
like Melinda Gates or fucking
with
McKinsey,
Bill, like,
whatever the fuck her name is from Jeff Bezos.
Well, like with Bill Gates, like say
they're
what you will.
I can handle that. I can handle $40 billion.
Well, say what you will about Bill and Melinda Gates, but like it's on record that like every year Bill Gates gave away so much of his fucking money to charity because Bill Gates has the type of money and the type of IP that continually makes him money that he knows, yeah, it's gonna come back, so it's what the fuck ever. So, like, I can understand, which honestly, that's kind of the reason that I'd forgotten about their whole divorce, because it did seem kind of amicable. They were just like, yeah, we ain't really hitting, but like, I would probably say, I don't know this to be true, but I bet you they still run a charity together.
They do.
Yeah, like they still have a working
do.
relationship. Like,
They
you know,
do.
David Arquette and fucking Courtney Cox still have a production team together.
Yeah, well, I mean, dude, a lot of them are still cool.
Right, like
somehow.
you hit, I hit, you know, Brad and Jennifer, like they're like, look, we're good.
No, Brad and Jennifer's like Brad and Angelina.
But Brad and Jennifer's whole
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
like they still were just like, whatever, like you'll still go make your money, I'll make my money, we're okay.
So you know divorce stuff.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
I know like white
right.
women divorce shit.
So that's fancy people getting divorced. Regular ass trash people, they get divorced too. And the stories from that.
Who gets these beans?
Yes. So let's get into it. I found some funny divorce stories that are more in that vein. So I'm going to read some of them to you. So these are all from divorce attorneys, right?
Yeah.
All right. I had a husband and wife go to toe over an ashtray they bought in Vegas. They spent nearly $5,000 for me and another attorney to duke it out in court over this ashtray. Prior to the proceeding,
Not one that their kid made in kindergarten.
No, they
Like-
bought it in Vegas. Prior to the proceeding, I explained that the cost to argue over something like that would be far more than what it was worth, and that my client could give me $2,500 and I could fly to Vegas and buy an identical ashtray instead of doing this. He said he didn't care about the cost because he intended to smash it on the courthouse steps in front of her if he won. We won, and he followed through with the smashing. He laughed and said the look on her face was worth infinitely more than $2,500.
It's about sending a message,
dude.
Yeah, baby.
This guy was like, no, I'll pay you $10,000 to fucking make that bitch hurt. Like, I just felt like his dedication to, when you win this ashtray for me, I'm going to explode it on the steps in front of her just to send her a message about how much she don't hit.
Which, by the way, I identify with that. And I know that you identify with that because you literally did that one time. Like, I'm not going to tell the whole fucking story because I don't want to indict us, but one time we were working with, let's just call it a publishing company, all right? And we, on their dime, went to a hotel and spent upwards of $3,000 on their tab. They then had a problem with that, even though they had told us before, this is an open tab, spend whatever the fuck you want. They kept hounding us about it. And you sent an email back, very drunk because I was with you, that said, tell them I'll give them $6,000 if they'll just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And you meant it. So I get that. It's about sending a message.
Yeah. All right, here's another one. I once represented a husband divorcing his wife of over 35 years. At mediation, they divided up about $500,000 in assets within 30 minutes, no problem. They then spent 2.5 hours fighting over 2 hurricane glasses from Pat O'Brien's in New Orleans and a pitchfork. The wife told the mediator that she really wanted that pitchfork because it was a gift from her daddy. The husband stated they bought it at Home Depot 2 years ago, you dumbass. They settled at mediation after spending over $100,000 in attorney fees combined for the glasses and the pitchfork. they remarried 3 months after that.
I'm sitting here thinking, I told you all this stuff about how, like, if me and Amber got divorced, I'd want it to be amicable. But I do think I understand that, like, if me and her got divorced and she goes, but I want that Joe Diffie shirt you're wearing right now,
You'd be like, that ain't happening.
I would spend $5,000 in court
Right.
to get this Joe Diffie shirt that I could have recreated for $25 because that wouldn't have been the one that you gave me for
take
Christmas.
the dog,
but
you leave me my Diffie
shirt. Yeah, exactly. I get it. You're emotional.
You got to draw a line in the sand,
Yeah.
dude, at some point. Fucking, all right. So here's another one. My client's husband cheated on her with another woman, and he took some pictures of the penetration.
Oh, Jesus.
She found these pictures on his computer, but his face was not in them. So during a deposition, I asked him if the penis in the photos did in fact belong to him, and he said he couldn't say. So
I don't know my dick from a hole in the ground.
So when I pressed him on why he could not identify his own penis, he claimed that exposure to Agent Orange in Vietnam caused him to have memory problems. It's like, hey, why don't you know what your dick looks like, Nam?
That ain't my dick. That's so fucking funny.
Dude, fucking Nam, dude.
Somebody goes, sir, is this your dick? And he goes, you weren't there.
Yeah.
God. Damn it.
I gotta ask my dad about that.
You should. Just call
He's
your
got
dad and be like,
Agent Orange
Dad,
stuff,
if
yeah.
I put 6 pictures of dicks, could you pick yours out of the lineup? And by the way, thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Dude, yeah. Fucking Nam. Good excuse for anything, seems like.
Oh, dude, for sure. I was just watching No Country for Old Men, and there's that scene where, like, Josh Brolin's character's, like, coming across the border, and they're like, I can't just let you in. And he's like, wait, were you in Nam? And he goes, yeah, 2 tourists, blah, blah. And he's like, all right, fucking pass it on. I'm like, yeah, I could, like, pretty much, if I'm talking to a dude and he says some racist shit that I don't agree with, but then after he's like, I'm sorry, I was in Nam. I'm like, all right.
Well, what are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
He was in Nam.
He was in Nam. What are you going to do?
He was in Nam.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the time, it wasn't the get out of jail free card we think of it today, but like, yeah, I mean, I fucking get it. You know what I mean? You did a thing.
Yeah. You got any thoughting parts?
No, just that I hope my wife fucking stays with me forever because I don't want to deal with any of that shit. But yeah, I mean, it
Buddy, if me and Katie get divorced,
if Katie leaves you,
she taking me for
for sure.
it, dog.
Well, Amber will too.
It ain't no doubt in my mind. I done it already know. Like, she got me over a barrel.
Well, actually,
like, I'm getting raked if she ever leaves me.
Because of
and
Amber's,
she knows that too.
Because of
she
what
100% knows
because
that.
of what Amber's getting left, like from her dad and all the property and stuff. I'd be totally fine with split down the middle. Like if you want to split, cool. It's like she actually hits harder than me, so I'm like, yeah,
we ain't got that.
Let's just do that shit. But like, no, man, it was very interesting to hear that we had completely inverse views on that, specifically because of religion, which I think will probably end up becoming like a thread through a lot of our like seeing shit the opposite way. But yeah, no, divorce, in my opinion, it sucks if it happens to a good relationship, but again, as Louis said, that's never happened. So it's just like, why would you think that would last? The divorce rate being 53% or whatever the fuck it is, I'm like, yeah, that checks out.
So even though I grew up thinking divorce was the most normal thing in the world, still, again, through Katie and everything, I reframed the way I look at divorce. Like I said, it's like, oh, you don't necessarily have to get divorced. Yeah. So with that in mind, we moved to LA. I went to a live podcast recording at a comedy club out here, a comedy club. But in the live podcast recording, the guest was one of the hittingest divorce attorneys in all of Los Angeles.
Largo, right?
Yeah. And she was up there talking about how she's representing all these people in divorce. And she's like the best divorce attorney around. And then she goes into this whole thing where she's like, and you know, I started noticing like poor people, they don't hit. And,
accurate.
And things things don't hit for them
At all.
Poor people.
Yeah.
And I felt bad.
Common theme.
I felt bad. So what I've done in order to give back to the community, what I've done is I've developed an iPhone app where you can get divorced. I swear to God, she's like, where you can get divorced on your iPhone. Anyone can get divorced. And she's being totally sincere, totally up her own ass. And everybody's just sitting there listening to her. And I'm the only person, I'm in the back horse laughing.
Yeah.
She's like, you know what? I've developed an iPhone. And I was just like, what? What the fuck? Like laughing my ass off. And that upset her so much, hearing me laugh, that she just left the stage. She just walked off and left.
Yeah.
Because she expected everybody to, I don't know, give her a fucking standing ovation for making it easier to get a divorce.
Which, by the way, she proved my point. When things aren't going well, leave.
Yeah. Yeah. Where it's like, where I'm sitting there thinking, like, this is the decay of Western civilization.
Right.
That's what this is.
Yeah.
And it didn't hit for her and she left. And that's good. Fuck her. I don't give a fuck.
Fuck her.
She got a fucking house in the hills, 3 of them probably. I don't give a fuck. Anyway, all right, Professor Cho.
We will be right back after this with a Professor Cho history lesson.
Yeah.
From
Sean Connery.
Giving
the history lesson
of
the lesson of William Shakespeare.
Nice. That's good shit. Yeah, William Shakespeare, the Bard, right after this.
Hey, y'all, listen up. CBD, it ain't about what you feel. It's about what you don't feel. Things like stress, anxiety, pain, sleeplessness, all kinds of stuff that you would like to eradicate from your life in a healthy manner. And for that purpose, we can talk to you about Feels. Feels is a better way to feel better. Feels is a premium CBD that will help you keep your head clear and feel your very, very best. It's hassle-free and delivered directly to your door. If you don't know about CBD, it naturally helps reduce stress, anxiety, pain, and sleeplessness with absolutely no hangover or addiction. Corey, you're a big CBD proponent.
Oh, yeah, I have been for as soon as I pretty much, well, I won't say as soon as I heard about it. I was a little trepidatious just because I was like, there's no way something could really actually relieve my anxiety and help me fall asleep that's not going to make me feel sluggish the next day. And that's not true because CBD does that. And there is no hangover. But speaking of hangover, by the way, if you do have a hangover, I highly suggest a little bit of CBD. That's one of the things that I use it for. All you got to do is place a couple of drops of Feels under your tongue and you feel the difference within minutes. And the thing to remember about CBD is that finding your right dose is important. So Feels offers a CBD hotline to help guide your personal experience so that you can find the perfect dose. The Feels customer service team is dedicated to making sure you have the best use of your CBD. Joining the Feels monthly membership makes your self-care easy. You'll save money on every order, and you can pause or cancel every time. Tell them how to do it, Trae.
That's right. Sounds like it hits to me. So here's what you do. You need to start feeling better with Feels. So become a member today by going to feels.com/POA, and you'll get 50% off your first order with free shipping. That's FEALS.com/POA to become a member and get 50% automatically taken off your first order with free shipping. Feels.com/POA. Start feeling better with Feels right now. We appreciate them sponsoring the podcast.
Skew.
Are you feeling stuck making minimum payments on your credit card debt? SaveWithConrad.com can help, and you don't need perfect credit or money out of your pocket to do this. NMLS number 65084, equal housing lender. Oh, and did I mention no house payments for 2 months? Get rid of your credit card debt and lower your monthly payments right now at SaveWithConrad.com.
All right, Professor Cho, we're talking about Shakespeare. What can I say about Shakespeare? I guess I would compare him to a summer's day.
I knew you.
I don't really.
That's great.
Well, that's it. Let's just go from there.
That's actually a wonderful thing that I'm so glad that you immediately said, because according to the Oxford Dictionary, Trae, he has written close to 1/10 of the most quoted lines ever written in English. So the fact,
honestly,
that might be low.
Seems low to me.
Yeah, no,
like
1/10. Like he's not the 10th.
No, I know. I know. No, I'm saying,
but to this day, a tenth of what comes out of motherfuckers' mouths is like a William Shakespeare quote or something that, and I would say that like a lot of times it's people don't even realize that they're fucking doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like there's definitely at least a group of people on earth who say to be or not to be and don't really know that it's William Shakespeare. Like it's just a thing that they say and shit like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all right.
I just love staring at you and feeling the moment of when
this
you're about
one
to say
time
something.
before me and Katie met, I was fucking partying with some friends, and I was out in Nashville, and the girl working the front desk at the hotel we were at, her name was Sonnet.
Oh yeah, there you go.
And she introduced herself. You know, I had the chin strap at the time. Chin strap played.
Yeah.
Chin strap played.
Yeah.
And I saw her name tag, and I was like, oh, Sonnet. I bet you get compared to a summer's day a lot. And
She was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
no, she was like, what's going on? What are you doing later? And
It worked?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah, it
nice.
worked.
So like she
I
got
know.
the reference.
She absolutely got. I'm sure she got. I guess she just like
Got that a lot.
I guess she just rolled with everybody, whoever said that,
Yeah.
because that's the easiest thing to say.
Well, I was definitely
But it
expecting.
worked,
I was
so,
expecting you to be like, she said, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
No, it worked like a charm.
Yeah, but so Shakespeare, born in the 1500s, you know, pretty wild time, I would say, to be born. Yeah, you know,
hell
like
yeah.
not a lot of good shit going on.
No.
One thing that I wanted to
Get
discuss.
fucking tuberculosis next to a goose. That's what happened.
Yeah, what's your line? You pluck a goose in the mud and cough to death.
Pluck a goose in the mud for 40 years and then cough to death.
Well, that was pretty much what
That's
was going
what you did
on
back then.
in Shakespeare's world. And this is something that I think that like me and you have definitely probably talked about. I think most like artists have probably like at some point took solace in this fact, but it's something that I don't know that a lot of people know. Did you know that like William Shakespeare was like did not have a good Rotten Tomato score? Like,
Yeah.
did you know that? Like,
Yes,
that's
no.
the best way I can put it, but it's true.
No, his shit at the time was like
Joe Dirt.
like the Adam Sandler
Yes.
movies of
Yes.
his time, right?
It was.
They were the things
Working
made
man
for
stuff.
dipshits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's 100% true, but like it's just one of those things where
Dude,
like
how wild is it to think of the possibility
in
that
2,000 years.
well, not 2,000.
Well, right, yeah.
But in
Yeah.
a few hundred years from now,
Yeah.
that people could be looking at fucking
Billy
Click
Madison
or
Yeah.
whatever by Adam Sandler.
For the record, Click's a good movie.
Click fucking rules.
great
dude.
movie.
I love Adam
And for-
Sandler.
and, like, right, me and you are not the two people to sit here and like we are going to defend Adam Sandler to the death.
But it's wild to think about college courses being
Right,
taught about
right.
Adam Sandler movies.
but like that's
or
a
something,
that
you
is
know?
like a pretty real possibility.
Because that's what happened with Shakespeare.
Yeah. I mean, no, for sure. I mean, like,
Dude, honestly, I could totally see Click being the Shakespeare of his
that
time.
movie's like we
Dude,
obviously
Click
can't get
is
in.
fucking
We
awesome.
obviously can't get into it right now. But that movie not only was awesome, it was like not only ahead of its time, but also like such a departure from the Sandler sphere
let me
that I
tell
don't
you.
think people really appreciated it
Buddy,
enough.
I had just gone through a breakup.
Tears.
I had just gone through a
Tears.
breakup and also got very high before watching Click for the
Yeah.
first time. And I cried my fucking eye. That movie shook
Yeah.
me to my core,
Dude,
dog.
that
that movie
Sean,
fucked me up in a good way.
Sean Astin
Yeah.
or whatever, who's
Yeah.
in Lord of the Rings, and
Yeah,
also
yeah.
Rudy.
Rudy, yeah,
he
yeah.
fucking crushes in that movie, but also like I really empathize with that character.
That's 50 First Dates, right?
He's in that too, but he's also in Click. He's Marissa Tomei's second husband in Click.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
Bill or Bob or
Yeah,
something
you're
like
right,
that.
you're
yeah,
right,
yeah.
you're right.
Trust
Yep.
me, I know Click.
Yeah.
I'm very familiar with most of the Sandler universe. But yeah, no, like honestly, that's a pretty good. That's probably the perfect. Adam Sandler is the William Shakespeare of our time. But like, yeah, he was 100% panned by the critics back in those days. He was kind of like the working man's.
Dude, what were critics? It's wild to me they even
What
had
hit for them?
critics back.
Yeah.
Well, like what were they doing? Like what critics were? Where were they putting their shit out?
Like there was no internet. There was
town criers.
Yeah, they were just
being
it
like,
doesn't hit.
It doesn't hit.
It so does not hit.
Hear ye.
This does not hit.
It doesn't hit.
But what's also interesting about that is like, you know, we talk about now like the difference between like the Rotten Tomatoes score and like what the audience score is. And like usually if I see a movie that got like 30% on Rotten Tomato, but the audience score is 90%,
It's probably funny as fuck.
and awesome. Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
that's now sometimes it'll be like, you know, the Rotten Tomato score is 50% and the audience score is 70%. And I'm like, that's not enough. But like, usually if the audience loves it and the critics hate it, I'm like, this is about to be my fucking shit. But the thing about the audience back then for William Shakespeare was that it wasn't necessarily just the common man. He was beloved by the king and the queen. Like these were people who like the king would have William Shakespeare put on specific plays like just for him. And he was like loved by the king. And I just feel like maybe, you know, if you're looking at like the Trump administration or something like that, and like whatever he liked doesn't necessarily mean it was really good. But like in order for the king and queen to like give their fucking stamp of approval, you gotta think like it's gotta be, you know, pretty fucking good. And of course, like,
I mean, yeah, dude. But Trump being our most recent president,
Yeah.
definitely hurts that argument.
I
because
know.
I'm sure Trump is like the James Woods, Rudy Giuliani movie.
yeah,
Trump
right.
is like, this is it.
And
this
I
is
mean-
what, this hits.
and I mean to
That's
balance
what you need to
and to
say.
balance that out a little bit, I don't really give a fuck what Joe Biden likes either.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like if Joe Biden was like praised a movie, I'd be like, I bet it might not hit for me. Like I have no fucking idea.
Green
Oh,
Book.
thank you, Russ.
Green Book probably really hit for Joe Biden.
I bet it did, and I've not seen that movie.
Honestly, hell, that movie ain't bad.
Yeah, I mean,
That movie got a lot of undeserved shit, but I don't want to.
well, first off, yeah,
I don't want to.
we won't get into that. But
Different podcast.
A movie being problematic does not mean that I won't like it. You know what I'm saying? Like, matter of fact, it goes the complete opposite way. Did you know that he also acted? Like, he was also an actor in some of
No.
his plays? I didn't either, which means he must have sucked. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, I don't know. It's not like we know the most hitting actor of that time. Like whoever the George Clooney was of 1583, we don't know who the fuck that was.
I know, but
he
all-
could have smashed. I feel
all
like,
I'm
and we
saying
wouldn't
is
know.
the fact that I had to find in my learnings that William Shakespeare also act like you'd think if he was really great at it would have been brought up from time to time that like, and he also was a tremendous, I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I think it was probably one of those things like, you know, one of those comedians that book shows just so that they can do the show. Like that might have been the situation with Shakespeare. Here's another, you know what the fuck I'm saying.
I do, but
Here-
it's funny to think about like he wrote The Tempest
Right.
just so
to
he
cast
could get
himself
on
in it.
stage or whatever. Yeah.
He was
Yeah,
doing
yeah. I don't-
bringer
yeah.
shows.
Yeah, that's exactly
Shakespeare.
right. Shakespeare bringer shows where he brought the fucking queen. So this is another thing that I found that was very interesting about Shakespeare. So he lived what some would consider maybe a double life. So London, obviously the big city, the New York of the pond area, I guess. That's their new. You know what I mean?
The pond is the ocean.
Oh yeah.
They're across the pond.
Okay, it's the New York.
London is not in the pond
right.
area.
Okay,
England is not the pond.
Russ, maybe cut that. Yeah,
I don't know.
So,
I don't know ponds from lakes.
So London is the big city where he did. Don't cut it. Obviously, London is the big city where like he did his plays and stuff like that. And of course, in London, he was a super famous guy. Like William Shakespeare couldn't walk. Look at that fucking guy right there. Like you know what that guy looks like.
He looks
He
pimp.
was super famous. But where he was from, which was Stratford, which was like a small town,
Upon Avon, I believe.
Pont Avon. Yeah, Pont Avon.
Excuse me. Upon Avon.
Yeah, Pont Avon. Where
I
he's
thought French didn't hit for them.
I
I feel like
think
they took French words and they were like, it don't have to be all French about it. Let's make it different sounding.
you know it's funny that you say that because there are a lot of words in like that English actually say where I'm like that seems like the opposite of how you would say it. Like we here say valet, and that's French, and they say valet,
Right.
which it seems like we would say valet.
I feel like because they were like,
Fuck the
"Nah,
French."
French don't hit.
Holy shit, I've never thought about that.
So I don't think they would ever say upon avant.
The first time I
Right.
saw Downton Abbey and they called the valet the valet, I was like, wait, that sounds like how my dad would pronounce it if he never heard it before. You know what I'm saying? So you're right. They fucking take the. Well, that's a
French
complete,
don't hit.
French don't hit. That's a completely different podcast. But so obviously in London, he was super popular for writing plays. This fucking dude couldn't shake a stick without you know what I mean? But in Stratford, where he was actually from, nobody really even like knew that about him. He was famous there, but for being like a businessman and a property owner, because like what he did was like he took his play money and then back home, like he bought up a bunch of houses. He bought up like, I guess, restaurants and stuff like that. So people there were just like, yeah, it's Bill. You know, Bill's got a fucking lot of houses and a lot of property and he rents some shit out and he's got a restaurant. But like they didn't, like in his hometown, he wasn't really William Shakespeare. You know what I'm saying? Which is something that could happen back then because the internet didn't exist.
Yeah, I was about to say that's wild to think about. Like you can't really have that anymore.
No, absolutely not. Like there's no such thing as like anonymity now. Like I watch like, you know, mob shows where like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go like, you know, leave the life and then go move to a city where nobody knows me. And I'm like, you kind of can't. Like there's always a camera, there's always a fucking like whatever. But like he kind of did that. Like where his summer home back in his place, like they kind of just was like, oh yeah, I guess Bill. Honestly, I bet you there's a lot of people in my hometown who don't really have Twitter, who know that I'm a comedian and know that I do stuff, but don't really maybe know the extent to what the fuck I'm doing.
No, they know you're a queer, dude.
But
They all know you're a queer.
That's accurate. They do. But that was a thing for Bill Shakespeare. And another thing that's wild to me about Shakespeare is that, did you know that first off, he didn't have anything published until he was dead.
What? How is that possible?
Nothing.
He was clearly doing the plays and shit.
He was doing the plays and shit, but nothing was actually like published. Like nothing was like on record. The only time that he was ever published.
How did they do that accurately after the fact?
Well,
once he died.
Well, I'm about to give you a couple things that's going to fuck you up because this fucked me up. So he was not published. It was only after. Oh, what are these two fucking dudes' names? Hold on, I've written them down here in my goddamn. Oh yeah, his plays were never actually published in his lifetime. After he died, John Hemmings and Henry Condell, who were two of his like main actors in his like what's it called, the theater company or whatever, after he died, they took some transcripts or whatever and actually got it published, which are like all of the William Shakespeare books that you read today on his life's work come from these two dudes taking what they did, because they were like in all the shit. They took what they did, transcribed it, and that is the Shakespeare that we see today. Another interesting thing about that, Trey, is that back then, and this is a huge reason, back then there was no such thing as copyright laws. They didn't exist.
Of course. That didn't happen until Disney showed up, right?
Okay.
Until Mickey Mouse said, hey, you can't be doing the shit I don't know
exactly when it showed up, but this is an interesting parallel between the Shakespeare world and how we live today. So because there was no such thing as copyright laws, Shakespeare actors, when he really started hitting and realized that people were like copying his shit and stuff like that, because they would just like old vaudevillian actors that would just like, you know, take an act and just fucking do their thing. He started doing a thing where actors in Shakespeare plays didn't even get their lines until the play was actually going on. Which, by the way, like, here's what would happen. He would just be like, you're doing a play, this is the character you're playing. And what they would do is the characters, like the people playing this, would be so close to the curtain, and people behind the curtain would whisper their lines to them.
What?
And do you know what that's similar to? Do you remember what happened in the last season of Game of Thrones? In the last season of Game of Thrones, they were so worried that the scripts were going to get like leaked to the press and shit.
They put them through their ears.
They had earpieces.
I've heard that Johnny Depp does that all the time.
They had earpieces, and the actors would not know their lines, and they would get them read to them, which, by the way, really explains a lot about the last season of fucking Game of Thrones. But, like, I remember reading that thing and, like, that's insane. Like, what a very new, insane thing this is that surely has never happened before. But fucking Shakespeare would literally have people behind the curtain whispering to the actors so that nothing was ever recorded and shit like that. So he had...
So how would anybody have recorded it?
But he had the only transcript. He didn't give the script to the actors.
Yeah, but...
So that they could then copy them and give them to other people.
I know, but you could still do that. Again, this is before fucking recorders were a thing, so you couldn't have done that beforehand, but you could be at the first showing, you could be at the first showing, hypothetically, and fucking write down everything everybody says.
That's true, but he didn't want to give his actors like a script for them to then pass on to some fucking town crier or whatever. Like, obviously all that stuff could happen, but he was just like trying to prevent it in the most effective way that he could. So, like, because of that, like, he would...
Yeah, but I feel like that's not...
No, it's stupid. It's to the detriment of your play.
I'm about to say, if you're watching a play...
No, I agree with you.
Somebody standing on stage and they're like, 2-4 the summer's night, and then they're like... And somebody behind them is like... Pss, 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 pss. There goes the fair maiden on the fucking.
For the record, I agree with you. That would make it worse, and it wasn't worth it.
Yeah,
but that's literally what they did in Game of Thrones, which like is the same thing.
Well, yeah, no, I know.
Like those actors weren't able to take those lines and like be with them. You know what I mean? Like they were literally just reciting shit. Like I agree with you. Like it's not ultimately worth what you end up getting, but like that's what the fuck he was doing because he was so paranoid about his shit getting out there and people copying it and saying like this is my play and it was actually a fucking Shakespeare play. Like that's a thing.
That's fucking wild.
Yeah,
dude.
no, it's fucking like super wild. Also, how old do you think he was when he wrote his last play?
Well, this was back at a time when, again, you plucked a goose in the mud for 40 years and then coughed to death at the age of 40. Back then, 14-year-olds were 39. No,
I bet you're about
14-year-olds were fucking 52.
I bet you're about to get this exactly right.
No, I'm not. How old was he when he wrote what?
His last play? Yeah, his last play.
31.
49.
Oh, that's way older than I thought.
Right, I thought you were about to fucking nail it. No,
well, sorry, I let you down.
It was no. I mean, I think 31 is actually no. That would have been wild. I mean, look at that fucking guy, like, getting that fucking bald at 30. Well, I get...
Buddy, back then?
No, I know. You're right.
He looks great in this one.
Okay.
Dude, 31 back then.
I want to quiz you on this, too.
That's like 60 now, right?
Easily.
Yeah.
I want to quiz you on this, too. How many words did he introduce to the English language?
Yeah, I don't know the number, but I know that.
Can you even? I know that. Try to guess. Like, try to make a guess.
11,000.
Oh no, it's way more. It's 3,000.
Yeah,
that's still insane though. Like you guessed way high, but like 3,000.
Yeah, but he. That's always. I knew that he introduced a lot of words into the English language, but it's always been funny to me that he could just be like
make up words. And be like, that's a word.
He just be like, you know what's a word now? This, and people be like, that's a word now.
That's another thing that like when it's like cousin fucking like when fancy people do it, it's like, oh yeah, this is now a word. Whereas like rednecks make up words all the goddamn time, but people go, that ain't a word.
That ain't a word.
Which ain't is one of those like in the example, but yeah, ort, ain't.
Womerns.
Or not Warmerns. Yeah. Not only that, but to me, as far as his like wordsmith goes, introducing 3,000 words is kind of actually not impressive because that's just you making shit up. What's really impressive to me is 7,000 words, 7,000 real words appear only once in his works. There are 7,000 different words that have one entry into his plays.
I don't know enough about words to know that There's a whole
I don't
lot
even
of
know
words.
I know there are, but like 7,000 words appear one time
Yeah.
in his works. That's kind of like, you remember in one of the earlier episodes when you were talking about the like folding the fucking shit and it going to the moon? Like,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
that to me. Like with like
Yeah.
like first off, I don't know how long it would take me to sit here and think of 7,000 unique words, and then to go, okay, and all of them, I'm gonna write 32 sonnets and 45 plays, and all of those words will only enter them one time. I don't understand how that's possible.
That's very wild. I'm sure it's nowhere near 7,000. I would love to know, and we will never know. No one will ever do this, and they shouldn't. But I would love to know how many unique words we have said on this podcast so far.
I bet you somebody could figure that out. Airheads,
Somebody do that.
people
need a
out there in the
fan.
Airstream.
I bet
Yep.
it ain't nowhere near 7,000, but dude, I bet it's more than you think it is.
Yeah, I bet you're probably right. Email us at
It's a
Puttin
lot of
On Airs.
words that don't do other word stuff.
Yeah,
They
that's
just
true.
do the one word stuff, and they come up every now and then, and they don't carry a lot of word weight.
Huh.
You know what I mean?
No, you're actually making a lot of sense for me right now.
Well, this motherfucker wrote a whole lot of fucking plays. Plays got a lot of words, dude. Plays are gonna have words in them. You know what I mean? And you like, well, that's true.
no,
Plays
you're
do,
right.
Plays
like,
do have a lot of words
I had
in them.
thought
And
I
you-
blew. Here's what's happening right now. I came into this thinking I was going to blow your mind, and you've blown my mind.
That's what I do, baby.
Did you know, Trey, that no one actually wrote by candlelight?
What do you mean?
Even-
Ever? I
No.
bet at least some
I mean,
people wrote by
But I'm
candlelight.
saying it wasn't like we think that's like a trope now. Like all these like people like William Shakespeare like grinding it at night, writing by candlelight. Apparently back then, even the rich people, candles were so expensive that like they wouldn't just stay up to waste a candle. Shakespeare, they wouldn't.
No,
Shakespeare and his contemporaries wrote because of that. Shakespeare and his contemporaries actually wrote during the day and socialized at night. So like the image, right?
I feel like back then, dude, everybody did everything during the day.
They did, but
because
like
it was
we
like,
have
oh,
that-
at nighttime we can't do shit.
I get it.
Because light go away.
Bad comes in.
Nighttime light go away, bad come in.
Yeah.
We can't do no good.
Yeah.
Because light go away.
But
That's how people were back then, I feel like. Don't you think that's how people
it's true,
were?
but like that picture right there, like we have that image of like a William
Yeah, no,
Shakespeare.
you're right.
Because like artists
right.
are normally night owls and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So we have, but like that apparently wasn't really a thing. Like he got like he had more of like a normal human being schedule, and then at night he would get fucked up and talks with the townspeople and shit. But like that wasn't really a thing. And the last thing that I want to talk about William Shakespeare, which I think really has a lot in common with, well, honestly, this podcast, for instance, is that between 1592 and 1594, all theaters across London, across Europe, were completely closed for 2 years. Would you like to know why? I'm sure you know.
Black plague?
The plague. They were closed because of the plague. And
Dude, plague didn't hit.
No. And I would like to go on record right now as saying that I also don't think the plague hit.
No, plague didn't
The
hit.
plague didn't hit. Plague,
Hot take.
9/11,
Yeah. Hitler did not hit.
child abduction.
Don't hit.
None of those things hit.
None of those things hit.
But here's the thing. In 1592, people went, I think that maybe we shouldn't gather in these large theaters.
Right, dude. Imagine going back to that time and telling those people, "Hey, we got this potion we can put in your arm, and you won't die of the plague."
They would love it.
They would have lined to eat fucking peasants.
They would.
serfs,
They stayed taking potion anyways.
and they would have known that it was. Well, I mean, not they would have known. They could have been like, "Hey, it's a witch who's got some anti-plague potion."
Get
They
it.
would have been like, "Where's this witch at? Give me that anti-plague potion.
Yeah.
I'm tired of all my kids dying."
And then somebody would
You
be
know?
like, I think she gave it to a horse Should we do that and be like, what are you going to do?
Whatever. Give it to the horse. That's fine.
Well, that was a thing back then. There was the plague, and because of that, the theaters were closed down. And here's the thing that really interested me. William Shakespeare, before the plague happened, had never written a sonnet and had never written a poem. He only started writing sonnets and started writing poems because the plague happened and he was at home and he had to find some other creative outlet because he wasn't able to put people on stage. So I thought that that was a nice way to wrap up this episode because this podcast was kind of born during a plague when we were like, what are we going to do? And so that's a thing that William Shakespeare did, which means that me and you and Adam Sandler are the William Shakespeare.
We are the Williams Shakespeare of our age.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And
wasn't that great?
There was
great.
one
I would like to
word-
compare that to A Summer's Day.
There was one word that I thought was kind of cool. He made up was swagger.
He made up swagger?
I don't know. That's what this
I know he made up cunt.
unconfirmed website
Cunt,
that I
he
pulled
made
up.
cunt.
Look it up. Hold on. Before we leave this episode, Russ, look it up. Professor Russ did. Professor Russ.
Oh, you just gave me
Oh,
my.
we got it. We got it. I'm pretty sure that cunt is William Shakespeare.
Let's see.
If so, that's
I'm gonna
like
just
the
put William Shakespeare. Cunt.
William Shakespeare
Let's see what
cunt.
comes up.
There's gonna be a lot of old reviews from the 1500s. Yeah, William Shakespeare's a huge fucking cunt. If William Shakespeare did invent the word cunt, then he's my wife's favorite. William Shakespeare was a big fan of the word cunt. Okay, that doesn't mean he invented it.
Get in line, Bill.
I was raised not to use foul language, so cunt is not a part of my typical language, along with other.
Oh, this is like, you know.
Who is this saying
Might
this?
take me a second.
Hamlet, lady, shall I lie in your lap? Oh no, my lord, I mean my head upon your lap. Hey, my lord, what the word cunt's not in there. The word country's in there. There's not. Can you just type
Do you
in?
think I meant country matters?
Can you just type in? Did William Shakespeare invent cunt? I thought he did. I've told a lot of people that. Like a lot. I've told a lot of. I've told a lot of people that. And mainly it was when they were like, I can't believe you said cunt. And I was like, William Shakespeare made up cunt, right? And they were like, okay. Yeah, look it up. Well, you're on pictures. There's a pill that says cunt.
It's wild if he made up swagger, that swagger kind of sat undisturbed
For a while, yeah.
for 500 years or whatever before fucking Zoomers or whatever.
I think
were
it
like,
was
you know what
because-
hits? Swagger.
I think it was because like for a while it was like to swagger about.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Probably,
and then somebody was like, he's got a lot of. So the answer to whether or not Shakespeare invented the word cunt is both yes and no. Awesome. However, he is chiefly responsible for common cunt euphemisms. Although the word dates back thousands of years, its use today is predominantly because of Shakespeare. Okay. I'm giving it to him.
popularized it.
He at least popularized it. So if it wasn't for Shakespeare, the word cunt probably would have died.
Yeah.
So William Shakespeare invented cunt, divorce hits,
and swagger.
and
Look
he's
at-
got swagger.
Look at that.
And so, by the way, if you think we've got swagger, please like, subscribe, tell all your friends, download. Did I say give us a 5-star review?
Give us a 5-star
We'll
review.
do that. And we will see you next time here on Puttin On Airs. Here's Lydia Lovelace.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Royalty and rednecks are alike. They both like cutting and picking fights. Biscuits and baked beans where they don't belong. Sit on down with Corey and Trae and learn some fancy shit today. We'll laugh a little even when they're wrong. They'll take you to a magical place where if you call someone a cunt, nobody cares. They keep it debonair at Puttin On Airs, Puttin On Airs, Puttin On Airs, Puttin On Airs.
What's up, airheads? Here we are. Where are we, Joe?
We are here in lovely Strat-upon-Avon, I believe, is that
You getting hip to the lingo or something? Is that how the cool kids say it?
What is
got
it
my-
normally?
Stratford
upon Avon? Okay.
Okay.
So I've had a kind of a hard
I feel
time.
like I heard you say that one
Well,
other
early-
time, and in my head I was like,
Does he know something that I don't know?
No, I
Like,
don't. No, I think that like
You're gonna, you know,
I did earlier.
we're going down the old SUA. You know what I'm saying? Down
So
there.
yesterday,
Stratis, I think they call it.
yesterday when we were at, yesterday when
Stradivarius. You guys know about Stradivarius, right?
Yesterday when we were at the hotel and the girl was like, "What was your final destination?" You were like Stratford upon Avon, and I was like, "How do you?" I didn't know it was the word upon. I thought like, I don't know, like Stratford upon Avon doesn't sound like a place. That sounds like a hotel at a place called Avon. You know what I'm saying? So I think
so
it was
you
just
thought the place was just Avon.
I guess, and
So Avon, we just learned this on a lovely little tour we took. So it's a river here.
Yeah, right.
But we were in Bath, and we went over the river Avon. I was like, oh, right, that's the same river. But he actually said it's not the same river.
Right.
Avon derives from the Latin something for river. So
Yeah.
like, they got a bunch of rivers all called Avon. This is one of them, and Stratford is upon it. 'Cause
Right.
It sits on the river.
when he said when our
Home
tour
of
guide,
Billy Shakespeare.
yeah, that's
Which
what I was
actually,
going to ask,
first
if
of-
he's from here or he just did most of his stuff here. And
From here.
I literally just did this episode.
Which is why, well, it's not wild. It's actually,
It is kinda wild.
One of the wildest coincidences in POA's long and storied history so far as this week is the Professor Cho on William Shakespeare. And as you're listening to this, we are literally in Stratford upon Avon. So we thought we'd do Clearing the Airs from here because that's just nifty.
Yeah,
Isn't it? Isn't
we're
that
pros.
nifty?
We definitely did this on purpose.
Yeah, nifty as can be. Yeah,
Um,
whenever I can't even think of a future, we already did Casanova. It's like we wasn't going
Right.
to Italy for that. Like, you know, it'd be wild if we tried to make all of these make sense.
What
that
we
way.
should do is figure out which
It's hard 'cause we
episodes
cover
are.
places that are so far away all the time.
Well,
you know.
right, but we need to
this is
figure
lovely.
out what the next couple episodes are because, like, me and you famously, amongst ourselves famously, like, we don't know until the Wednesday before the episode comes out when Russ asks us, hey, is this an okay title for the episode? And we're like, oh, right on. We talked about Shakespeare this week. So, like, yeah, it was an insane coincidence. When they said that, when our tour guide said, Avon is a word that comes from. Did you think that they were going to say something about beauty?
Makeup.
Yeah.
Avon is an old Latin word meaning makeup lady.
Yeah, makeup lady. Yeah, pyramid scheme woman. So no, we're here. We're having fun.
I had no idea that it meant river originally or anything like that. I didn't
Yeah,
know. But
right. I
now
just
you
thought
do.
it would be beauty because, like,
Yeah.
Stratford upon Avon, the beautiful Stratford. I don't know, but we're here. We're about to do a proper pub crawl. We've been pretty well pub crawling for like 8 days. I'm sort of worn out.
We're going to be literally crawling tomorrow because we rode horses today. How about that? Got a wee bit of the jousting in at like a trot at best. A trot would be generous. for
Has that
what our
episode come out
horses
yet? The
were
Knights?
doing. But you know, I don't know.
Yeah,
Again,
right.
we never know until the week of what episode's going to be because we're so far removed from it, and also it was drunk. Matter of fact, on that note, we re-listened to this episode last night to remember what we talked about, and in listening to it, Cho learned things about William Shakespeare from himself that he did not know. Present day him did not know the things that past him was teaching all of us on this episode. We were listening to it last night, and he said something. Past him in the episode said some fun fact about Shakespeare, and present him laying in bed was like, I didn't know that.
It's so true. It's funny and it's true. It's funny
Yeah.
because it's true.
That's right.
So yeah, there won't be any airmail this week. We're going to do something a little bit special. Give y'all a little view of what we got going on here. We do thank y'all for sending those lovely letters to Puttin On Airs at gmail.com. Keep doing
We'll
it.
get to 'em,
Because
yeah.
we're going to read those next week. We thought, doesn't this look pretty? So yeah, we're living it up. We're having a good time. We hope that y'all are still enjoying the show as much as we're enjoying making it. Remember to get your questions, your comments, your concerns into puttingonairs at gmail.com. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the podcast, but you listen to it, please do it. Even if you're like, but I know when it comes out. I get it, but it really helps us out.
Easy for you means a lot to us.
It means so much to us. Go leave it a 5-star review. Not only convince your friends to subscribe to the podcast, but convince them to give us a 5-star review as well, because it really helps us up in the ratings. Our number,
Even if they hate us, trick them.
exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, tell them it's about something
Planes.
different. Yeah, exactly.
Making planes.
Yeah, it's a show about
Painting
making
old
planes.
planes. You know how those old World War II planes had like cartoons on them and stuff like that? Just, if you got old Papa on your family, tell them it's a show about that and just have him, give it 5 stars without listening to it, of course. Might work. I don't know. It's worth a shot.
I agree with you, and and we'll see you next week on Puttin On Airs, where I probably guess we'll be doing a version of this again. Love you.
Summers.
Summers, yeah.
Summers.
Skew, 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 skew. skewed. Okay, I know. I was wanting you to get another one.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.